usually preterm infants are higher risk of getting oxygen injury, higher oxygen. If they are given higher oxygen, the risk of oxygen toxicity are high. But why
Absolutely.
it is so that preterm infants are resuscitated at higher concentration of oxygen rather than term infants?
What is the guideline is that for preterm babies, you have to start oxygen anywhere between 21 to 30%. They don't say that you resuscitate at higher oxygen concentration. They give a small range because for saturation, the optimal target saturation for preterms is not known. That's why they have given a limit of 10. And there are some studies which have shown that room air, because when they compared that room air 21% with 30%, and they started with 21%, 80% of those babies subsequently went on to have FIR2 requirement up to 30%. So that's why they have given that range of 21 to 30%, because that is the range in which 90% of the preterm babies will require resuscitation. That is, they will require that much amount of FIR2 to reach their target saturation. That's why they have given a range, and you can always start with room air. They do not say that do not resuscitate with room air. They say that start with 21 to 30%.
Because cost of blender is also quite high, actually, and
Yeah, but
sometimes when it is
that
not.
cannot be an excuse. We have to use blender, especially if you are doing a
I
pre.
agree with you.
And this is, and these guidelines, let me remind you that the guidelines are based on very low evidence, and still this dispute is not, it is still not solved. It is a very weak recommendation and very low quality of evidence.
Now, there is another question from Dr. Chaitra. He's telling that in HFNC, 4 to 6 liters flow generates 5 to 6 centimeters pressure.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, she says that my doubt is just 4.
Please repeat the question, ma'am. There is some.
Ma'am, your voice is
So,
breaking.
my voice is breaking.
Yeah, ma'am. Please
Yeah.
repeat the question, ma'am.
Okay, just a minute. Just a minute.
Okay. While the question is going on, there is an online quiz for Dr. Akansha's presentation. I'm just launching it.
Put the quiz here.
Yeah.
So, question for Dr. Akash was,
Yes, sir.
You said that HFNC pressure should be between 4 to 6 liter.
Flow, yes, sir. Flow of 4 to 6.
Oh, yes. But understanding from Dr. Chaitra is that it should be 4 to 6 liter per kg body weight per minute.
No, sir, not per kg.
It is very simple.
It is flow rate of 4 to 6 liters
6
per minute, not per kg.
Otherwise, if 3 kg flow
Yeah.
will be 18 liter to
Yeah, it will be 24.
So, one question from Dr. Sachin.
Yes, sir.
How to prevent leak from mouth during HFNC?
We don't need to prevent leak, because majority of the times, whether it is HFNC or CPAP, if the baby is opening mouth or if the baby is crying, that means that baby is having discomfort, either because of the pain, because the prongs are not appropriate, or there is a wet diaper which needs to be removed, or baby is hungry. Majority of the babies, when they are on optimal settings, they will be quiet and they will have their mouth open. They will have their mouth closed.
Okay.
And that leak for HFNC, leak from nose and mouth is required for washing out of that CO2. So you don't need to close. It will be more harmful. There will be, because CPAP, we have to remember that CPAP works on pressure, HFNC works on flow. Irrespective of the pressure generated by the HFNC, the ventilation oxygenation mechanisms are different. It works by washing out of the dead space. That is the main mechanism. And for that, you need to have it is an open system. It is not a closed system like CPAP. And for HFNC to work best, you need to have leak both at around nose as well as mouth. If you close mouth, there will be less CO2 washout, which is the main mechanism of action for HFNC.
A question from Dr. Gaurav is, can we use a simple oxyset, disposable simple oxyset attached to inspiratory limb of a CPAP to make HFNC?
If you use a simple nasal prong, it will not be adequately heated. And there may be kinking which can interpret the flow. The quality of an HFNC cannula is that it has got a heating wire even up to the nostrils, whereas in CPAP, that is not there. So it may, if you use a simple cannula, the resistance may be high because normally HFNC circuit is a breathable circuit. Its compliance is good. Whereas if you use a normal oxygen cannula, it will not lead to the adequate warmidification of the gases, and it may lead to increased resistance, thereby interpreting the flow. Whatever circuits we are using for HFNC, they are special circuits. They are breathable circuits with good compliance, and they maintain the heating of the gas almost up to the nostrils.
So Dr. Akash, there is a question from Dr. Vinny Saxena again.
Yes.
That you said that when we do the decrement of oxygen flow, then it has to be at the rate of 1 liter every 12 hourly.
Yeah,
And what should be the rate of increment when we are increasing it
Increasing,
from 5?
it has to be 10 to 15 minutes. For increment, you have to stand with the baby, and within 5 to 10 minutes, you can increase. For increasing, you don't need to wait for 8 to 12 hours. You have to increase every 5 to 10 minutes if there is a persistent respiratory distress.
Then Dr. Rohit is asking that what is the most cost-effective HFNC right now?
The most cost-effective is the CPAP machine which you are using for CPAP. You use the same machine for giving HFNC. Only thing is, if you want an Indian-made, the Indian-made nasal cannula for HFNC are available for 500 to 600 rupees.
Okay. So Dr. Gaurav is asking, can we use simple oxyset attached to inspiratory limb?
This we have answered, ma'am. This we have answered, ma'am.
So again, the repetition. How much flow can be given to the baby?
8 liters is the maximum flow.
That is maximum. HFNC versus CPAP. What is more friendly to nurses and parents? Definitely, you had explained it in your talk. It was HFNC.
The TRP of HFNC is that it is all friendly, be it a baby, be it a staff, or be it a mother. That is the main advantage of using HFNC.
So Dr. Akash, Dr. Prateek is asking this question. Can a bubble CPAP be used for HFNC? If yes, then what other accessories do we need to buy for CPAP?
I think we have answered it, but for the sake of maybe he has missed. Yes, we can use the same CPAP machine which is used to deliver CPAP for HFNC. Only thing is that you have to remove the expiratory limb and you have to connect the inspiratory limb with OptiFlow. That is, you only need to buy the HFNC cannula and you need to connect it to the inspiratory limb.
Okay.
And flows and FiO2 can be titrated just like we do for CPAP.
So Dr. Akash, there is another question from Dr. Yusuf, and he's asking that how much flow per kg of baby's weight to be used for HFNC? Is weight a factor in deciding HFNC flow in preterm units?
First of all, regarding flow can be used from 2 to 8 liters. That is what 1 to 8 liters, or some books say even 2 to 8 liters. It is not per kg. But you need to remember that the same flow, suppose for example 6 liter in a 1 kg baby, will generate higher pressures compared to a term baby which is around 3 to 4 kgs. And one thing for the clarification of the audience, I need to say that whenever you are giving HFNC, you cannot control the pressure, neither you can measure the pressure. So for whenever you are giving HFNC, the main thing you have to concentrate on is flow. Don't worry about pressures. You neither can set them, you neither can measure them.
So there are some circuits available with heated wire up to the nostrils.
Yeah, that is the HFNC.
Take this? I mean, they are supposed to be good ones.
See, the Indians
Doctor-
are known for Jugaad system. Something is better than nothing.
Again, a
But-
jugaad.
Yeah, but if you talk about the evidence, none of the machines which has been made in India has been tested so far. But definitely, if there is nothing, you can use those indigenous cannula. And in fact, we should do research with our own system, with our own machines, and generate the data.
So, Doctor, when Dr. Akash, a 32-weeker is born
Yes, ma'am.
and is having a respiratory distress, maybe mild respiratory distress. Now, what should I start with? He's a 32-week baby. Now, CPAP or HFNC?
First, ma'am, if the
My
baby,
resident is saying he go for CPAP. Now, what should I do?
if ma'am, you are working in a tertiary center where you have good nursing to patient ratio, there is always a doctor available 24/7. Best is to start CPAP. But if you are working in a small center where there is not enough manpower, there is not enough nursing staff, there are plenty of babies which are to be looked after, there you can use HFNC and monitor the baby every 2 to 3 hourly. And in case if you think that despite adequate settings, baby is not being managed properly, his distress, his work of breathing is increasing, you can always switch to CPAP.
So it means that if there is a resource limited setting, then one should go for HFNC in such
Yeah,
kind of
but
scenario.
provided there
Otherwise,
is,
one should look for CPAP. So you feel
yes,
CPAP
ma'am.
is
For
definitely
primary support, there is no doubt that CPAP is better. But if you are working in a small center, there is CPAP machine is not available, the manpower is not available, the nursing staff is not there to monitor, then you can always give a trial of HFNC. A baby who is more than 32 weeks.
Ruchira, you can, Akash is here, you can transfer questions sent for Akansha to Akash because
yeah. So
Akash,
Dr. Akash,
before
Sure.
Ruchira start, ये भी कुछ जुगाड़ वाला है.
Yes, sir.
Circuits of CPAPs are very costly.
Yes, sir.
Whole set of Fisher Paykel cost about 4,000, 5,000.
Yes.
So इसमें क्या जुगाड़ हो सकता है?
So there are, first of all, you can reusable circuits are available. We can reuse them. Second thing is you can use Indian made circuits. Like there are n number of, there is Phoenix, there is FlexiCare. They are available on around 600 to 700 cost. You can use them, sir.
So they are compatible with Fisher and
Yes.
Paykel humidifier and all.
They can be, with some minor jugaad, they are compatible, sir.
So Ruchira,
Dr. Akash, this is a question from Dr. Vikas, and he's asking that CPAP in preterm versus term babies. Your
Yes.
expert remark about it.
Ma'am, for preterm babies, we need to understand that the major cause of respiratory distress is atelectasis. That is, during expiration, the alveoli tend to remain collapsed. That is because of the surfactant deficiency. So any baby with preterm baby with respiratory distress, CPAP is the choice. There is no other way. CPAP plus minus surfactant. But for a term baby, if he is not having severe retractions, one can use other modalities of oxygen therapy like hood box oxygen, because there the problem is not atelectasis. Majority of the time it is either meconium aspiration or pneumonia. So for preterm baby, respiratory distress, always CPAP with or without surfactant, depending on the severity. For term baby, you may use CPAP, but even a hood box oxygen can do.
As now you're taking both the questions on both the topics, and usually the questions are overlapping also when we are discussing these things, HFNC and CPAP. So there's a question from Dr. Arvind Gal that what are the similarities between HFNC and CPAP?
Similarities are that both are non-invasive. That is the major similarity.
So, okay.
very good question from Dr. Ghazi. What is the percentage of term baby with mild to moderate distress stabilized on HFNC, and the percentage of baby who was initially on HFNC and later shifted to CPAP. Is there any study, any statistics?
Yes. Can you repeat the questions?
See, the question is, what is the percentage of term babies
Yes,
with
ma'am.
mild to moderate respiratory distress stabilized on HFNC, and percentage of babies who required rescue CPAP or other measurements? Do you have any percentage
Yes,
like that?
yes, ma'am. I personally know a unit, various units, especially countries. In Italy, there are n number of units which do not use CPAP at all for term babies. They give results of around 90% of the term babies, 90 to 95% of the baby. They can be managed on HFNC alone. And even for data is not from the term babies, but data is from the preterm babies. One is the Hipster trial and other is the Murkia et al. Trial, which was a collaborative trial between Fernandez and Surya Hospital. There they have shown that babies, even the preterm babies who fail HFNC, they can be managed on CPAP. And the need for ventilation in both the groups, that is HFNC and CPAP, was similar. Because babies who failed HFNC, they went on CPAP and were managed on CPAP. They did not require ventilation. So if preterm babies who fail HFNC can be managed on CPAP, same applies. I don't think it should be a problem for term babies.
I think, Dr. Ghazi, your question is answered.
Dr. Akash, what are the experiences of CPAP in HIE baby and MAS babies?
Sir, CPAP for HIE babies, first of all, I will answer HIE. If it is a severe HIE, there the problem is not within the lungs. It is the brain. The neuronal circuit is not intact, so drive will not be there. So majority of these babies will get intubated in the delivery room itself. For mild HIE, the results are very high, almost 90%. Coming back to the meconium aspiration syndrome, I think I have done enough work on meconium aspiration. The largest trial is by me. It is published in JAMA Pediatrics. Whereby we have shown that meconium aspiration, if it is mild to moderate, majority of the babies, that is 75% of the babies, can be managed on CPAP alone. And for every 5 babies you put on CPAP, you are going to prevent 1 ventilation.
Now, Dr. Akash, post-extubation.
Yes,
This is a question from Dr. Sandeep. He's asking, post-extubation, which kind of setting do you prefer? Putting the baby on HFNC or CPAP?
That is the only condition where HFNC has been shown to be similar to CPAP. So post-extubation, either you shift him to CPAP or HFNC, it is your will. But the caution is only for the extreme premature babies. Less than 28 weeks, you should shift to CPAP. For babies who are more than 28 weeks, if you are starting HFNC, the initial rates has to be similar. That is a flow of 4 to 6 liters, and FiO2 is equivalent to the one which he was receiving on the ventilator.
So any study on missed with HFNC in extremely low birth weight babies?
There is an, as of now, the results are not published, but there is an ongoing trial where they have studying the mist along with the HFNC. But as of now, there is no trial.
So what is this? What are these terminologies, Dr. Akash? Mist, Lisa, and
actually, these are
surfactant, insert. What are these? Ensure. What are these terminologies? Can you please explain them?
Sure, ma'am. In the previous, when the RDS started in 1960s, 1950s, majority of the clinicians, they thought that the only way to treat RDS is ventilate, right in the delivery room itself. Then subsequently, Gregory et al., they did a landmark trial which showed that if you put a baby on CPAP, you are going to salvage 50% of the babies. So the CPAP began to be used as an initial mode of respiratory support. But the babies who required surfactant, the only way to give surfactant in those era was to intubate, give surfactant, and then give a short period of ventilation for around 30 minutes, and then extubate them back to CPAP. That is what was called as INSURE. That is intubate, give surfactant, ventilate them for 30 minutes, and then extubate to CPAP. Now, as we know, despite various strategies, open lung concept, caffeine, non-invasive ventilation, the incidence of BPD did not decrease. It is still high, despite various revolutionary measures and despite non-invasive being promoted left and right. So what they thought that maybe because the animal studies demonstrated that even if we give 5 to 6 positive breaths, it is enough to cause lung injury. So since while giving surfactant with the help of ET tube, we need to give bag and mask, and those pressures are transferred to the lungs. Second thing is whenever we are giving Ensure, if the baby is on CPAP, we have to remove CPAP. So whatever recruitment of the lung we have achieved, we are allowing the lungs to de-recruit. And second thing is we are intubating and giving positive pressure ventilation. To overcome these invasive methods, there was development of non-invasive technique of giving surfactant, which in fact is a misnomer because LISA, MIST, they are not really non-invasive, they are partially invasive. So MIST is a term by Europe and LISA is a term which was given by US. LISA means least invasive surfactant administration and MIST means minimally invasive surfactant technique. And there is also another term called take care. To avoid this confusion, we have given a classification which is published and it is known as Pandita's classification, where we have used a common term for all these terms so that there is no confusion, and we call it as SURE and Ensure. By SURE we mean that surfactant without endotracheal intubation, so it covers every method. And the last, what actually should be least invasive, is when the surfactant is given by nebulization. That is the real non-invasive way of giving surfactant.
Okay, thank you for explaining very nicely. There's one more interesting question. They said this is a question from Dr. Neeraj, and he's asking, can you suggest how to make a CPAP in case the machine isn't available, or so as to start in a delivery room?
There are for indigenous CPAP, again, it is an indigenously jugaad. Although they have not been studied, but again, something is better than nothing. The videos, because it will require a demonstration of the videos are freely available in YouTube. If there is not one, we'll send shortly in one in the group and we'll circulate. It is difficult to demonstrate here.
Okay, so you feel that one can use those indigenous systems?
We do not promote it, but if you don't have any avenues you are working
with, there one can use it at that
but
time.
If you have nothing, you want to use something, you can make an indigenous.
So there's one more question which has come up, and it is like this doctor says that I'm living in a very small city, or rather a small town, and we don't have much of the facilities here, but then there are so many patients who come with respiratory distress and all that. So I am planning to buy a CPAP machine for me. So now he says that I've got two options. One is that I should buy a ventilator machine in which already is CPAP options there. So it will serve me as a purpose for ventilation as well. Whereas there's another option in which I should buy only CPAP machine. So what is your suggestion?
What is the amount he can buy only one ventilator, or he can buy multiple ventilators?
Right, he can buy only one thing, one machine only.
So for him, it is, I think the better option is to buy a ventilator only, because even for preterm babies, VLBW babies, 50% of the babies will fail CPAP and they will require intubation. So if he has money to buy 2 or 3 ventilators, then he should buy 50% of the CPAP machines, or maybe one ventilator with the rest of the money, because each ventilator nowadays costs around 15 to 20 lakhs, whereas CPAP machine just costs around 1 to 2 lakhs.
What is the most cost effective HFNC machine right now?
It is the same CPAP machine which you are using, the same CPAP machine you can use for HFNC. The cost of an individual HFNC machine right now is around 3 to 5 lakhs.
Akash, 2 questions on post-extubation.
Yes, sir.
Which is the best modality for a post-extubation patient, NIV or HFNC?
If it is a preterm baby less than 28 weeker, NIV, more than 28 weeker, both are equally good.
So for an extubated patient, ventilatory CPAP is better, or one should go for bubble CPAP?
Both ventilator or bubble CPAP. It is, if you have both, better to use bubble CPAP and keep ventilator reserved for a baby who requires ventilation.
And otherwise, Dr. Akash, what does the studies show that
No,
if the
there
baby
is no
is put
difference.
on, no difference?
There is no difference. Only thing is, if you are putting a baby on ventilator, CPAP, you are occupying the ventilator. Whereas if you are using a CPAP machine, that ventilator can be used for a baby who goes on to develop need for ventilation.
Dr. Akash, the interface which is being used for CPAP, and as Dr. Akanksha said, that nasal mask is considered to be better interface in case if it is there. But most of the places not available. Then which one next do you suggest?
We know that neonates are nasal obligate breathers. So anything, if you put in the nose, it is going to increase the resistance and increase the work of breathing. Whenever you are giving